All right, people.
I have 2 rolls of crackers right now.
Okay. But those are 2 small rolls.
She was like, these were $20.
I don't know about that. All right, people. We are continuing what we did yesterday. Tomorrow, we will be going over your Chapter 5 tests. And just so we're aware, regardless of what you got on the test, there will be another activity, assignment, whatever you want to say. We'll probably get to it tomorrow. But a lot of us had some similar issues on the mastery, so we wanted to review those things. You're fine. I'm just waiting. Nice and patiently. All right. We're doing more with inequalities today. What does it mean for something to be a solution? When we talk about these problems, we talk about finding solutions. What's that mean? I don't know. Where are the cards? Yeah, but what's that mean? I mean, these aren't situations like 2 plus 5 equals 7. They're not that straightforward. We're all really awake this morning, aren't we? Yeah. And a majority of people holding up their head with it. All right. Adrian, what do you think it means for something to be a solution?
Maybe an answer to a problem.
Yeah. Nora? So Joey, what do you think? A what? A fix to a problem. Casey?
The way to solve a problem.
Maybe. If I give you something like that, and I ask you to find a solution or multiple solutions, yeah, x could be 7. So I don't want values for x. I still want to define like what it means for something to be a solution. Ethan, you have your hand up? No? Does the problem I just wrote up there only have one solution? No. So what? So a solution is a value that we can put in for a variable that makes that statement true. Things that are not solutions would not make that true. What if I plug in 2? Why is that not true? Because they'd be equal, and this does not allow it to be equal. So Jerry and Ken are discussing some problems from yesterday, and they drew this graph. Now, Jerry noticed, wait, this symbol has the line under it, and I thought that meant we'd do something different. So they then say, well, yeah, no, that line means x equals 1. So, yeah, that graph. What's their issue? We're going through this problem really fast because we already talked about this yesterday. Adrian? Could be. Yeah, it could be less. So what do you mean? So how do I fix this?
You make them you shade behind the dot and draw an arrow.
So essentially with these 2 graphs, put them together. Right? So the graph of a less than or equal to, or a greater than or equal to, are combining the 2 different graphs of when the value could be that number, or when it's less than or greater than, whichever way it tells us. So, as we go through ABC here, you want to, if it's in a symbol relationship, write the words and make the graph. If it's in the words, make the graph, write it with symbols. If it's already graphed, write it with words, write it with symbols. Make sense? So the two that are not provided for A, B, and C, put those on your paper. Please and thank you. If anyone is confused, please stick the hand. Actually, I'm going to give you a minute or two to work on that. I will be right back.
Okay. The moon is not made out of. Oh wait. I drowned my clay. I made mud. She wet me on my jacket. Yeah, on accident. That's just someone saying I don't listen to us. Watch it all be essential. It is about you. It is recording. You're being recorded. Oh, I forgot my change it to math class. Oh my god. Okay, cut.
Friday. And we have homework on Friday.
That's not fair.
So healthy.
That's not fair. No, Layla. I was joking. Layla.
Thank you so much, Kevin. You're the best.
Nope. You have my fancy glasses.
What did you just say?
My fancy glasses.
Are we good? We done?
Yep.
No.
What? How many papers are blank? Because we sat here and we took advantage of me being out of the room.
Somebody, Skylar pointed out that I had white stuff on my list, and so I replied.
So I'm going to stop you right there. You're wasting time.
Okay, sorry.
I want to be able to like have class be enjoyable and funny and like, but guys, we got to get work done. We literally have not done anything yet. We talked about something and I asked you to do 3 little problems. I'm sure that some of you are on task and some of you are actually probably done, but some of you took advantage of me being out of the room and acted like a child. Yeah, I don't know if I can fix this at all. It needs a bleed.
I have to go really clear my locker. Why? I don't know. Because she thinks she's gonna bring something. Just a lot. It's like a whole. Do we need to hire a professional?
Alana, when you write A in words, how does it read back? Absolutely. X is less than negative 1.5. Then when I go to graph it, Layla, talk me through how I make one of these graphs.
Okay, so you need to make a number line.
Okay, check.
And then you should make a point for negative 1.5.
A point, like?
No, like a line.
Ah. So like a tick mark, right?
Yes, that's
Tick mark, negative 1 and 1/2, okay?
And then I can never figure out which way to go.
So next step should be the circle,
Oh,
then,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then what do we think about?
Whether it's greater than or equal to.
Now, I forgot to tell this class the trick yesterday. We, at the end of class yesterday, if you remember, took that inequality, I think it was like 2 was greater than x or something, and we turned it around so the x came first. If your x comes first, you're going to love this trick, this points the direction we shade. If your x comes first, it points the direction that we're going to shade from the point.
That's better than yesterday. I don't even know how. I just thought it was.
So if x was greater than something, that points to the right, we shade to the right. If x is the first thing said, or like whatever, this points the direction we go. All right, sweet. So that would be the graph for A, and we talked about how it read. Joey, what about B? Yeah, I mean, so really when we read it out loud, it just tells us how to make it, right? So x greater than or equal to 2. So I'll give you that part, but how do I make that graph?
Okay, so for the graph, there at least needs to be a positive 2 there.
Okay, so we got to put a positive 2 there.
And then you're gonna put the circle above the 2, and then you're gonna put an arrow on left. Wait, this is so. I mean, yeah, left. Isn't it left? This is the arrow pointing.
If our solutions are when x is greater than or equal to 2, those are our solutions. Is this greater than or equal to 2? Oh. So we got to go this way, but we're not totally done.
Oh.
Got to fill in the circle
Oh,
because we have the or equal. Now, I think I said this trick yesterday, but the way that most math teachers teach this is if my inequality symbol needs more ink, my shading needs more ink. Ink, quote unquote, graphite, whatever you want to say. If this takes more to write it, this takes more to shade it. Make sense? Maybe a little. Jalen, Hannah Montana. How do I read what the graph says for C, or what the graph's telling me? X is less than or equal to 2, and we would write it exactly like how it sounds. X is less than or equal to 2.
So much more sense.
You gotta make sure you spell those 2's differently, by the way. There's a lot of 2's. There are too many 2's. Too many 2's. Questions?
Wait, so I always forget. How do you know where to shade the circle again?
If it has the or equal.
Oh, so that's that line.
So yeah, that is telling you this is 2 different things. It's saying x is potentially less than 2, but also x is allowed to be equal to 2. That's what this symbol is telling you, those 2 things.
Wait, so how do you do the line? Like when it says x is greater than. Oh, so if it says then or equal to, you write the line. Oh, okay.
The or equal to, that's that line. And technically, it's like supposed to be flat, or I mean, it doesn't really make sense if we draw it with this, like at a big angle. I don't know, just whatever makes sense in your brain, but that might be what was confusing you. Layla?
What is like the point of shading in the circle if it's or equal to?
We are about to talk about that.
Wow.
Wait, so you shade the circle if it's equal to.
Let's talk about real situations, and this will make more sense. So true confession, unfortunately, I've gotten 2 speeding tickets in my life.
Mr. Hudson.
That's
Now,
not that bad.
one was not my
You're
fault.
going to the math store.
So let's talk math for a moment. My Jeep, when I bought it, had tires that were this big. They spun a certain amount of times, and the computer would know how fast I was going. I liked going off-road back then. I still like going off-road, so I bought bigger tires with lots of tread. So when I had bigger tires on, now one rotation, do I go further or shorter than I used to? Further, right? Bigger circle goes longer on one rotation. My speedometer didn't work right then. So when my speedometer said I was going 65 miles an hour, the cop told me I was going 74.
Oh,
So that was not a good,
were you
No,
off
no.
road or were you?
no, I was on the highway. If you're going 70 miles off-road, that's an
That'd be
impressive
scary.
off-road endeavor. Anyone watch Grand Tour? Anyone's dad?
My
My
dad
dad
loves
does.
The Top Gear people,
Uh-huh.
the Jeremy Clarkson and all those guys,
Oh,
they
yeah.
would probably go 70 miles an hour off-road.
Probably.
And because we're already off topic, I would totally drive a Ford Raptor pickup truck. this. It's
Mine had
awesome.
like the rain.
Okay, so that was one. The other one was in my Honda Civic, which was bright red, and the cop profiled me, in my opinion. But on the highway, there's a speed limit that once you're over it, you can get a ticket. Doesn't matter if you're 1 mile or 20 miles over it, you can get a ticket. Now, most of the time, if you're like within 5, they'll leave you alone. But they don't have to. They can pull you over and they can say you're speeding. So if the speed limit on a certain highway is 65 miles an hour, make a graph and shade what could get you a ticket.
Actually, one thing about this is going over things.
Yeah?
You know, in South Carolina, you know, like where you like get off the exit and like big lands of grass.
Yeah, yeah.
Cops, we saw.
Yeah, they
cops
sit there.
sitting
Yeah.
on that land.
Always.
Uh-huh.
Dude, you gotta know those. As you start to drive, you'll learn where cops sit to like
That's
get
a
you.
while. Like,
Yeah,
sit
that my
on
mom-
land
Yeah.
off the exit.
Now, technically, there's like some policies about they have to be visible. Like the reason you saw them was by policy. At least like I think 2 of their lights have to be visible. Like so for safety's sake. But yeah, no, they're allowed to do whatever they want. The best is when you come up over a hill and they're like right there getting you coming up over the hill and you have no time to slow down. They're just like, yep, gotcha.
Oh, did someone did like the thing where they're like, people used to do it back then. It's like he blinked his legs twice to tell you that there was a police officer.
Yeah, and that you can get in trouble for too.
Yeah.
Because that's supposed to be used to notify somebody of danger, like if there's a car crash up ahead or something.
Yeah, and like they did it like that.
Is
Yeah,
it
you
blinking
get like
lights
that's you can get in trouble for doing that.
No, like flash.
My
the headlights.
stepdad would do that whenever
Yeah.
like the light's red and nobody's out.
And if
And
the cops see you do that, you can get in big trouble.
the light changes.
'Cause, like,
Isaac, if we're gonna graph this, what's the first thing I want to put on said number 1? What do you mean my line? Like the line across?
No, like that line next to
Tick mark is what we call. That's a technical term, guys. That's a tick mark. Now, what else do I do? I put my 65. Then I'll leave it. Well, do you want me to keep going or am I going to leave you alone? All right, Riley, what do I do next?
Okay, you have to shade, you have to have a circle, but it's not, but it is filled in.
If the speed limit is 65, and this is something you guys may not understand, that's the limit of speed you can drive and be safe. No tickets. So do I shade that circle or not? No. We're allowed to drive 65. We would not shade that. So getting a ticket would faster or slower get me a ticket? Faster, right? Now here's a funny thing that you guys don't know and you don't have to put on your graph. There's also a technical minimum speed. You cannot get on the highway and drive 20 miles an hour. That's dangerous. Someone's going to come up behind you at 60 miles an hour and hit you. So if we were being accurate about speed limit or speeds that could get you a ticket, most highways have a minimum speed of 45, and you could also get a ticket out there. So if I'm on the highway creeping along at 30 miles an hour, even though I'm not speeding, a cop can pull me over because I'm being dangerous, right? Like it's not safe.
But that's something
No,
that's
that's
safe. No,
Because
then-
everyone else on the highway is traveling at the right speed. You're like moving as a group.
that's so sad.
Well, some people go
Not
too
really.
fast.
It's just for safety's sake.
I don't
All right.
like that.
That was A. Do you guys need more time for B?
I guess
Yeah, I have
Okay,
a
B, you brought $10 to the mall.
I would never bring
Let Y represent any amount of money you can spend. Let's shade that on our number line.
I think I know this one.
So take a moment. Now, as I showed you in A, this one might have multiple boundary points, actually. You have $10. You can't, doesn't matter if your purchase goes over, you then can't buy it, right? Like,
Wait, do we have to think about that?
no, don't like, just think about what you can spend. That tax would already be in it if you're spending it.
Why
Like,
would
it would
you
already
bring
be-
$10 to the mall? I need at least
I only have like 20 in my wallet.
I need at least $50.
Like, I need
At bare
No, Layla.
That's bare minimum.
I need
Ethan,
at least.
how are you going to start graphing this? So obviously number line, but then what do I do? Tick mark. Now, do you want me to put it in the center or where? I'm going to off-center slightly. And we'll look at why. So what do you want me to label that tick mark with? Yeah, but we can be more. So Y is actually what we're shading. We're going to shade. So up here, this was X, speeds that will get you a ticket, right? We shaded all the speeds that will get you a ticket, and technically these speeds would also. What number do we have referenced in this problem? 10. So that's the number that we want to put under here. So, you want to keep going or you want to move on? Move on. Madison, can I spend $10? So, shade or open? Shade it. Madison throwing shade. Then, so Madison, would I shade to the left or to the right of that 10? To the left, because I can spend less. Now, if we want to be technical, there's another boundary point.
Well,
Adrian? No negatives. I can't spend a negative amount of money because that would be like somebody handed me, like I got money, right? Spending a negative amount would be gaining. So like you walk into the store and you're like, ooh, this is mine. That, you can't do that. You'll end up arrested. So we also need to put a 0. Now here's the technical question. Open or shaded?
shaded.
Can I spend $0?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm right now spending $0.
Not at the mall, you can't.
I'm right now. I'm ordering 0 pizzas. I'm driving 0 miles. I'm doing a lot of 0 things right now. This would get shaded.
You're teaching math.
I know. I'm not doing 0 teaching math. I'm doing 1 teaching math.
Wait, you're only doing 1?
I don't know. I consider the act that. I don't know. Do you think I'm doing more?
Yeah, I think you're teaching with this class, yes.
In C, Brody, it tells us to ride your favorite roller coaster. Do you like roller coasters? Brody didn't say anything. Do you like roller coasters? What's your favorite? Okay, Magnum XL 2000 for me. Or one of the newer ones, but the Magnum's a classic. So Brody, you gotta be 5 feet tall to ride this roller coaster. Help me make this graph. So we're gonna start with the number line. What do I do next? Put a tick mark somewhere.
I'm not 5 feet.
Underneath, put 5 feet. If we want to be technical, put a label on it. Up here, we could put dollars. What now? Yep, always draw my circle. Don't even have to think. Ooh, so I can ride if I'm 5 feet? Yeah, you have to be at least. So if you're 5 feet, you need it. Have you ever been like right on the fringe? They have a little thing that they swing around, and if it touches your head at all, you're allowed. Like, depending on where you're at, sometimes they just have like a stick, and they're like, oh, you tall enough. But yeah, certain, like, and this comes down to safety too. All of these situations are kind of safety. Brody, which way do I shade, right or left? Right.
Wait, why is the line shorter?
You'll fall out of seat. The attack, like how everything's designed to show a body that is 5 feet or more. If you're smaller than that, like your body's probably smaller, you wouldn't safely stay in the restraints.
Wait, so why are we going forward on the line?
Because you can be 5 feet or bigger to ride the ride. So here I am at 6 feet 2 inches. I'm riding that roller coaster.
You're 6 foot?
Yeah, most adult males are like 5'10" to 6'2". That's the normal range.
Unless you're basketball.
All right, hold up. Questions on what we just did, because this is what your mastery is going to look like. Real situations. And I might honestly make stuff up. I sometimes make like funny problems like Mr. Estes and Mr. Kabila, things like that. But any questions on what we did? Kevin?
I think if it's less than 7
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
What?
You have to be less than 7 feet tall.
Ah, so if I have to be less than 7 feet, what else do I need?
An open circle with a tick mark through it.
So this... Yeah, Kevin, see me after class, obviously. Now, the afternoon class yesterday, holy cow, I tried to leave them. I put an inequality symbol the wrong direction, and then I walked over to talk to Mr. Smith, and they're like, bah, 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 bah. like freaked out. So nobody really won that because it was everyone at the same time. Do I shade my 7 or not?
No.
No. And this, and we'll do a problem when you guys get into Math 8 next year, like CC3. Why might you think, and especially if you've ridden the Magnum up at Cedar Point, why might you think there'd be a maximum height? 80?
Too big.
Yeah.
Too tall because like your head could like go up too high and like.
Who does this when you're on a roller coaster?
Me. Nope.
And who's ever been on a roller coaster that goes through a tunnel?
Oh, I hit the tunnel before. I hit the tunnel and it like.
Adrian's got it figured out. If I'm doing this and I'm really tall, my arms are also really long,
And they're gonna touch it.
and I might cut our hands off.
Yay!
That would not be fun.
I'm
not sure. Research it if you want, if you're interested.
Across the thing, and it cuts, and it.
Alright, check out. Hey, this gets harder now. So we got, like, those were kind of some easy situations that I wanted us to work through slowly. Ellie's working on building a dollhouse, let's say Discovery Day project, something like that. And she has 3 short boards, all the same length, right? I'll bring this down here to make it easier for you guys to see. She wants to then, or not wants to, she does. She lays the 3 of them end to end, right? Board, board, board. And then a 12-inch ruler on the end, because that's what she's working with. The total length of that span was still less than the 54-inch board. So let's draw a picture of what she did and figure out what could be the lengths of the short boards. Like, what range are those short boards within? Yeah, I said that kind of weird. That was the end of my sentence.
That happens to me sometimes.
Yeah. You're like, wait, sorry, no, I'm done. Like, that was it.
I'm a bee buzz.
Draw a picture of the 3 boards laid end to end, a 12-inch ruler on the end of that.
Wait, are these boards all the same size?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
They're all the same short board. It's like from a kit.
So draw how many boards?
3, and then the 12-inch ruler.
Read the problem.
You even have it in front of you. At least you should if your computer.
Should we just put like S?
Sure. Short board S.
I'm gonna make mine 4 blocks long.
I made mine 4 blocks. Oh my gosh! Me too.
Right, 3 short boards.
I did that.
And then also.
12 inch.
What's not here today, is he?
Who?
Gone. Ivan.
Who was?
He's here. I don't know where he is, but he's not.
Maybe he went to the
somewhere.
School visit probably.
school visit.
Yeah. Greta, what else do I need to do if she also laid a 12-inch ruler on the end of this? So in the problem it says she had 3 short boards end to end, and then her 12-inch ruler on the end of that. Yeah. Add a line. What do I put above that line? A 12. And we'll label inches because we care about our labels. Now we know that all of this together, is less than, so I'm going to say T for the total, we're just going to use that for a second, is less than 54. Now I shouldn't really use T because we don't want to have 2 different variables. So how can I put something on the left-hand side to represent the total, but it's not, is Ava not here too?
Nope, she's at like orthodontist appointment, and she'll be here at 11:30.
Ava, I hope your teeth are pretty. I know you won't watch the video, but
Yeah, she probably wouldn't. No.
Ava, if you watch the video,
You get 3 pieces of
Trust me,
candy.
she's not gonna watch the video.
well, I was gonna leave a code word, and then if she watches the video and gets the code word, then
Yeah,
we'll all
leave
be
a
fine.
comment.
Yeah. Wait, but no, somebody's gonna tell her to
I
watch
know, that's
the
the
video.
problem. It only works in my other class.
You have to leave a comment on the video.
Oh, I would Maybe
Yeah,
we
we
all
can do it
after
after
Ada
Ada
got
got
away.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
How about I do it as you guys leave?
Yeah.
Alright, so, Brendan, what can I put
Ava, why
What can I put on the left-hand side to represent the total of what we're working with? I don't have any X's up there.
S.
The S. 12.
Just one S?
No, 3S plus 12.
Ah, so this is going to be 3S plus 12. If you haven't solved for S, do so now. And please show your work like we were doing yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm going to random card to get some help with solving this problem, so please get a head start on me.
Oh, I didn't.
Now I have High School Musical stuck in my head.
Same.
It's purple.
We could do. Sorry. So like 10 for each. Well, that'd be 52. Wow, it's less than
Well,
what do you
that makes no sense. 12 is too small.
3, 4, 5. So we could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3,
If we're doing the algebra, right, those processes where I'm allowed to do whatever I want, quote unquote. Sophia, what could I do first here to start working towards figuring out S?
First, you could do 54 minus 12.
Do I just do it on that side?
What? No.
Because what you just said for me to do was this.
Yeah.
But also have to do it over here. So then we have 3S less than 42. Aiden, what do I do then? Yep.
Oh, like, what do you
I want to get S isolated. I want to get just one S.
Oh, well, you just have to take away 2 on both sides.
2 on both sides?
Yeah, because if you get rid of 2,
I got to take away 2 S's. So I'm going to minus 2S over here. I can't do
You
that.
can divide it by 3. Sorry.
we can divide it by 3.
Yes, Aiden, because this is multiplying. We are thinking, I haven't said this because last year kids got stuck on it. We are thinking about how to undo what's been done. Hey guys, stop or I'm taking it away. I need you with me. Unless you can tell me right now what I said. No, are you done on your paper? Right now. So why are you doing what you're doing?
No, I have what's up there on my paper.
That's what I'm saying. Your drawing is getting in the way of you thinking. Because if you're just writing down what I'm writing down, you're just like a monkey. Just following from. Monkeys can do that. Seriously. Like, yeah. So we divide because we're undoing multiplication. And then we find out that S is less than. Anybody? 14. So those short words could be 13, 12, 10, could be 13.9. What? Right.
Yeah, so
That's,
it'd be S.
we don't
Oh,
have
right.
we don't have to put this one because I don't say, hey Juan Aiden, how you doing this morning? I just say, hey Aiden.
It's S.
But yeah, we don't have to put the one. You can if you want.
So 1S would be 13.
What?
So 1S would be 13.
Could.
Well,
It could be 12 or 5 or 2, or they could be 1.
It could be anything less than 14.
So Sky just asked, could it be 13.9? It could be 13.999999999.
One.
All right, now this one I'm gonna try to see if you guys can earn back my trust for doing work on your own. You got to think about this one though. There's multiple people. There's multiple things to deal with. So Jordyn, Teri, and Morgan are gonna have a kite flying contest. And if you've ever flown a kite, you know you got to have enough string to get it up there, and then the longer the string is, the higher you can go. So Jordyn and Teri each just have one roll of string. They also have 45 yards of extra string. like off a roll. Morgan has 3 rolls of kite string plus 10 yards. Notice that we're working in yards here instead of feet. All of the rolls of string are the same length. So Jordyn's roll is equal to Teri's roll, right? So like R is R. Since Jordyn and Teri have fewer rolls of kite string, they decide to tie their string together so they can fly higher. Write at least 2 expressions to show how much kite string Jordyn and Teri have. And we're going to say that X is the yards of string on a roll. If you really want to use R, you can, but they're telling us to use X.
Why does it say let X represent?
That's a mathematical way to say like what we are setting up for the problem. Because we use X so much, we like don't always use it. So I might, if I was writing this problem, say let R equal the string on a roll. You're just defining what the variable represents. You're just telling people information. Okay? So remember, Jordyn and Teri also have this extra string.
So they only have 3 rolls. So they have like 3 rolls, correct? And then all the extra. How much is a roll?
X.
Oh.
You're figuring out. Because eventually, we ask this question.
I don't know what that question is. Oh, whoopsies. It's not my job. It's your job. Plus 45 and plus 10. Wait, so you mean 45 plus 10? No, plus 45 and 10. It's like
I see a lot of people not trying right now.
we're trying. Wait, it just said 3 and now it says 1.
No. Morgan has 3.
Oh. So we don't care about no. Oh, so we only needed 1 kite thing.
Oh, I erased it.
Wait.
We don't care about mine.
Oh, that makes sense.
If I'm writing out what the problem tells me Jordyn and Teri both have a roll, like each,
Oh.
and 45 yards extra. They each have 1 roll, so an X and another X, or put those together and say 2X, and an extra 45. Kevin's in the restroom. Eva, how do I write out what Morgan has?
Can I pass?
You can, but I'm not going to let you. And that's the wrong question. It would be, may I pass? Can you pass? I mean, I don't know. Can you? What's the problem? Tell me, how many rolls does Morgan have?
3. Oh, sorry.
I was not letting Eva pass, and now you're letting her pass.
Oh, no, sorry.
3 rolls, how much extra? So 3 rolls and 10. Very good job, Eva. Casey?
Because they both have an extra 45 this year, there'll be 245.
They also each have, good catch, they each have 45 yards of string extra. So actually we could have written that as 2x plus 45, right? Because if they each... So if I simplify Jordyn and Teri, 2x and 90, right? 2x and 90. So actually I might just write that down here again a little bit easier. 2x and 90. C is where this goes into the challenge. How long does a roll need to be in order for Jordyn and Teri to have more string, for them to fly higher than Morgan's kite? I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to solve that. This is going to be the last problem we do today.
Yeah, we have 2 minutes.
No, this is the best class.
Oh, well, thank you.
It really is. The other class.
Like, I used to really not like math. Like, I was,
Yeah, because I missed my
like, math, I was like,
That other
No.
teacher. Because she would. She was the best.
We should be solving this. I worry that you think this is the best class because you all abuse the fact that I trust what you're doing.
No, that's not why.
Help me set it up, Jalen. What do I do?
Oh, set it up.
I'm trying to scroll. Sorry.
Did you already say that?
Who's gonna have more string?
Terry.
Yeah, Terry and Jordyn, right? So if we're gonna compare 2x and 90 compared to Morgan, yeah, the greater than symbol is what we use to compare them, right?
But how do you know what? You don't know what X is. So how
Yeah.
do you know?
You're right. That's what we're figuring out.
Wait,
That's
so
why
we
we
have-
algebra.
we have to figure out what X is?
Yeah.
But you feel like
Yeah, we
we
can.
were just
Wait,
writing
but then
problems.
I thought this was the best class.
It is the best
Skylar?
class. Wait, then how do we know that they're greater?
Exactly.
We don't know
The
what
problem
they are.
tells us.
Oh.
How long does a roll of string have to be for their kite to fly higher?
Oh.
Jordyn and Teri team up, right? They tie theirs together. So what do I do, Ethan? There's 4 options here. Give me your eyes real quick. Ethan's 4 options are minus 2x and get rid of it, minus 90, get rid of it, minus 3x, get rid of it, minus 10, get rid of it. We'd have to do it on both sides. The easiest way to start, find your small variable and get rid of it. Variable. 2x. If I minus 2x on both sides, that's going to make things easier. Now, once you get really good at this, you can do multiple steps at a time. I would not advise you to do that right now.
Wait. So why do you?
Because we're trying to simplify, like we've been doing the past couple of days of like just try to get rid of things. We want to clean up our mat, right? The expression mat that we were working with all the tiles, and so we just made zeros, right? I put 2 negative x's in over here to make zeros, and I did the same thing over here, but over here I have an x left over. Now I would minus 10 because I have constant, variable, constant. I want to get rid of this constant. So minus 10, and we get
80.
And if I flip this whole thing around so my x comes first, x is
80. No, I lied. That was a lie.
less than 80. If x is more than 80, Morgan's kite's going to go higher.
So we're not.
But what we set up was Jordyn and Taylor, Terry, their string, the roll of string has to be under 80, and then their kite's higher. Because remember, they have that extra 90. And that's how it makes the big difference.
So we're not figuring out what X
Tomorrow, we're going over your
Yeah,
masteries and any homework questions you got. So have a great day, guys.
Oh, you too.
X is less than 80, or 80 is more than X. Ava, the code word is kites.
Oh, I heard it. Don't tell